Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
Delivered to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called the Enigma, but the mother has went for a walk. Came home, now they can't find her in the jail anymore.
Turn it over to another agency. Let's get some help.
Where are your kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say? You're over here in Hawaii? Chad, where are Lori's kids?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome back to another ATS live stream. This is episode 2 for the Chris Watts case review. So we started out with the security camera footage from their house and the neighbor's house. We got a little bit into the body cam footage. Today, we're going to be doing mostly body cam footage. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, Nana Banana, Chase. I see MK, Adrian. Thank you guys for being here, Mel Mac, and everyone else who's joined. I just want to get into it because there's a lot to cover. Obviously, there's a lot for us to go through. Pretty much, based on the comments I got in the last stream, which we got really good feedback and reassurance that, you guys are very much still interested in this case, even though it's years old. Thank you, Mel Mac. So pretty much, I want to just share a few articles. I'm not going to read through them. I'm just going to pull them up and kind of give you guys a little feel for where my theories come from, because a lot of people were not on board. A lot of people do believe in the explosion theory, but a lot of people just aren't really educated on the aspects of, Anadarko and their reputation and what they were like before they sold the company, which they did that very soon after the Watts case broke. So what I want to do, and again, I'll link these in the description box. This is 2014. This is basically talking about Survey oil field. This kind of gives you a little background of why the ranchers decided to work with oil and gas, Anadarko, and allow them to do these lines underneath the ground. So that's something that we kind of need to keep in mind. Again, I will link this in the description box of the live stream. This kind of gives you a little base for the history with Anadarko in that area. The other thing I want to share, and I will link in the description box, is this article, which describes what exactly eco-terrorism is and where it stems from. This is written, it's a government site, but it's talking about environmental terrorism in terms of its nature, its history, the philosophy and the tactics that they use. And yeah, it kind of gives you a little example of like what they're about. And they're definitely not about fracking, which is a main oil method that Anadarko was using. So this will be linked and you guys can read up on, what all this is about. And the other thing that I want to share, hang on, guys. So that'll be linked. And all this is relevant. I don't just pull my theories out of thin air. It's based off of my own research and based off of, actual events. So, this was a year before the murders, April 17th, 2017. Anadarko is tied to this fatal Firestone explosion, the gas leak caused by Anadarko that was running underneath the lines and all that exploded this house. And it's a real problem. And a lot of people were very much against it. And then this goes on to say 30 months after fatal blast, Colorado's widening web of underground pipelines still not fully mapped. So not only were Anadarko supposed to be given, safety measures that they were supposed to be following that they weren't, but they had even after this explosion, they were in no rush to kind of lay out to officials and just the public in general, like where exactly their gas lines ran. So this is just the house demolished. Doesn't this look very much like the Watts house in neighborhood 2? I mean, it's the same area. This killed 2 people. They settled out of court, and this was an accident caused by fracking. So, you know, it's problematic. For sure. And it definitely ties into my theories. So I just thought that those were important to kind of link in the description box. You guys can do your own research. You can fall down your own rabbit holes with that oil company. It doesn't just stop there with that house explosion. There is numerous safety concerns with that company, as well as there was like sexual harassment charges against them and all that. And if you know anything about NK and you hear her interviews, she has very much a strong political opinion, and it leans very much left. So take it as you will, but a lot of these eco terrorists and people in this extremism lean left as well. So take it for what you will. So this is having to do with my theory that nobody died in the house. And I know that kind of diminishes all these channels that are talking about ghosts in the house, and we saw Shanann's ghost and we heard these kids and it was a ghost. I don't believe any of that, simply because I just don't believe people died in the house. People stated in the comment section that cadaver dogs don't smell decomp, they smell cadavers. And I'm trying to figure out the difference of what they meant. Obviously, I don't think they were very well versed on that subject, because a dog obviously isn't going to skip over something decomposing and go to and just call it a cadaver. It just, this little research and this test study was done at a university, and it gives you the information of how long it takes a dog to signal to a live scent. They used carpet squares. Again, I'll link this in the description box. Not going to go through it all, but it says that there's a very, very high rate of dogs that can still smell cadaver and death on a carpet or a surface, even when it was moved rather quickly after death. So I know that people are kind of like, well, he loaded them in the car and that's why they didn't pick up on it and all that. It's just, in my opinion, I just feel very strongly in my research and in the discovery files that it mentions they just did not alert to death in the truck, the house, the garage, all that. So I don't know how they left, whether it was by gunpoint or they were sedated. But Shanann, in my opinion, did leave alive, but subdued in some way. And the girls left in the truck with Chris, because I see the shadows under the truck. So I'll link those if you guys are interested in that. Check them out. Take it for what you will. A lot of people also said, why would Shanann be out at the oil tanks for this supposed explosion? The thing is, these gas lines and the tanks run underground. So for some accident to take place, she wouldn't necessarily have to be right out there at the tanks. So they run to the road and they run underground. You'll see it in that articles that I'll link. And, you know, I feel like I'm not an arsonist, obviously, and I'm not an eco-terrorist and all that, but I'm sure that there's some way that something could have happened with the pipeline, because we see it right there in that house. That explosion in 2017 happened because a pipeline from fracking was leaking into their house, and it filled up and they turned on the gas or whatever and exploded. So these are very real. All right. So with that being said, let's get into the body cam. So last we had it, Nicole Atkinson is saying, Addie said that you told her that, because he's going off of this whole, she left with the kids to go on a play date. And Nicole Atkinson is on the phone with Sandy Rusek, and she's just kind of, you know, checking him with his story. And obviously he's very nervous and everything's kind of falling apart for him right now. And she says, Addie told me that you told her that she left in the middle of the night. And Chris does this whole like nervous laugh, like, oh no, she didn't leave in the middle of the night. And it's like, he does that kind of nervous like laugh in other instances too, and I feel that it's just him lying. I'm very curious if there is an interview with hi Tiny Ghost and everyone else who's joined, if there is an interview with Addie where she states, yeah, Chris told me that she left in the middle of the night. I don't know. Either way, his story's fallen apart at this moment. We're going to continue to watch it. I'll read your guys' comments in chat. CDT might join us later. She was kind of playing around with the idea, so that would be awesome. I know you guys love when we do our collaborations for the Watts case. And yeah, he's very nervous for sure. And thank you, MK, gifting 5 memberships. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys being here. Now's a good time for me to just ask and beg. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. So thank you so much, MK. I really appreciate your support and everyone being here with me.
Yeah, she went with some friends with she left.
So here we're gonna hear him say like he's stumbling over his story, and then she's gonna be like, "You said middle of the night," and he's gonna be like, "Oh no, I never said middle of the night or not middle of the night." When really, oddly enough, it was nighttime. And yeah, it was early morning, but it's interesting, you know, how his story has already been changing and falling apart, even just talking to Shanann's friends and her mother.
She went to go to a friend's house with the kids. That's why I knew they weren't at school.
Addie said you told her that she left in the middle of the night.
Oh no, she didn't leave in the middle of the night, no.
Yeah.
Where do your kids go to school at?
Primrose and Vista Ridge.
Danny wants to talk to you.
Okay. Hey. Yeah. No. Yeah, she said she was at her friend's house. That's what she told me she was going to do.
And notice on the phone with Sandy, walking away from the cop, you know, and you take it for what you will. It's almost like, you know, was he nervous about what he had to lie about right in front of the cop? So he's kind of moving a distance. And while I have a pause, thank you, Tom N, dropping in to say hi, Amber and the ATS crew. I'll catch this later at work. Okay, we'll have a good shift. Thank you so much for the super chat. It's great seeing you. And you have a beautiful night as well.
Nicholas.
I have no clue at whatsoever why she wouldn't take her cell phone. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. She didn't leave out the front door, I can't see it. Well, yeah, I can look at that and see. But it's so random because it goes off and on here lately. It gets false trips. It told me it was open when I got here.
So she, just like Nicole Atkinson, is asking him, where's my water? She's asking him to check their security camera log. They have Vivint. It has a control log. Those logs are, oddly enough, sealed to the public still to this day. And that would show him, and that would show everybody at this moment when she left, where she left, was it out the doors that have the alerts on it and all that. And he's kind of coming up with these excuses. Oh, it was giving us false, it was getting tripped up and giving us false alerts and all that. Well, you know, interesting that that's happening, especially since this would be showing us if somebody else was in that house after you left. So it's just interesting, you know, right off the bat, he's trying to say that the security information and all that is wonky. Now, over the summer, there was an argument between, and we see this in the discovery, an argument between Shanann and Chris via text. And I believe she called him and she was telling him to call Vivint, which is the security company, and figure out why she keeps getting these alerts about movement and all that. Remember, she's in North Carolina, so she has no idea really what's going on at her house while she's gone. In my opinion, it was NK, maybe her friends coming over and tripping up the sensors and all that. And Shanann had a hunch that something was up, or people were in the house, or Chris wasn't alone. And it caused an argument between them. And he told Shanann that it was given false censoring with false reports or whatever. And she says, call them now. Or, you know, she was very mad, pretty much. So this whole narrative that the system was like tripping up is a lie that he had on the tip of his tongue for a little bit now, because he had been saying it already to Shanann, and now he's saying it here to the cop and to Sandy.
But it's so random because it goes off and on here lately. It gets false trips. It told me it was open when I got here. I know.
So keep that in mind. He just said it told me it was open when I got here. So that could be a real something's up there, because he says more than once, and you'll hear it, we'll see it, we'll point it out more than once, that when he left, he got an alert that something was open and all that. So he is dropping little hints that, yeah, something is up with the security stuff. Now, is it false reporting, or is it because, you know, there was activity going on in the house when allegedly he's not there and she left to go on a friend's play date?
It doesn't make any sense at all. I'm not lost. I don't know where she's at, where the kids are at.
I don't know where she's at, where the kids are at. Now, again, wouldn't we just assume that they're all together? There's little hints that he says, like, that the kids are separate from Shanann. He says it with Tammy when they're in their interview and all that. Again, these are things I'll point out as we go along. This is going to be a long process to go through this case again, but we're here to do it. I believe that the kids were separate from Shanann, and that's just my opinion, and I'll explain why I think that. I don't believe that the children were part of this theory of the explosion or getting rid of Shanann, who was pregnant with Nico. I think that they were collateral damage personally.
I don't see her first, but she did.
Yeah. Only people that are out of state that she would contact would be in Arizona, be passing God, and they're not there.
The guy with the camera said nobody left the house during the day. The only people that showed up in the driveway and entered it were us.
I can look. What's that?
Your neighbor's camera.
So Nate is saying that the only people who showed up in the driveway are us. So, you know, she left out the back, in my opinion. Like, this is reiterating the fact that Nate doesn't see anything on his footage that is saying, you loaded her into the truck. I see it clear as day. I can see you lifting her in the sheet, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not being said. Even when they go to Nate's house and they look on the TV in the system there, they're not seeing him carry them into the truck. So she did not leave in the truck. That's my opinion. You guys can come for me. I know you will, because, you know, it's just how this case is. Without there being a trial, there is no like facts. Like, there really is very little facts, because evidence didn't get processed. Everything just stopped when this plea deal got signed. But to kind of piece everything together, you know, Nate is saying, and he says it more than once, like, all I see is him loading his truck, and she dropped, and Nicole Atkinson dropped her off at this time. And then we all show up, and that's what I see on my camera. So there's no camera out back. There's no people living out back in those houses. It was the perfect way to kind of get her out of the house, in my opinion, which is out back.
Neighbor, he has cameras. He said that the only people that left the house were you in the morning and then drove or shut and then was us. That's all he has.
I dropped her off.
Okay. But who left and then did? Okay.
I'll see if I can get on that USA app or Chase app. See if I can get on it, please. I'll see. I will.
Dispatch Work 91. You can cancel medical if they're staged.
Chris is the last person who wants to last.
So, what time do you work?
Usually, once I get to work, it's like 6:30 to 3:30, 4 o'clock.
You usually work nights or days?
Days.
What time do you leave the day?
What time I leave there?
No, here.
Usually between 5:30 and 6.
Alright. And was Shannon here then?
Yes. Yeah, she's still in bed.
So he's saying, and hello, CDT, welcome. So good to see you.
Hello, thank you for having me, and hello everybody in chat.
Everyone was commenting on my first live stream of this, saying how much they missed our coverage of this case, and they're so happy that I'm digging back into it. So I'm so happy you're here to join me, because you don't know how many people were like anticipating, like, oh, I hope we can get her insight as well. So thank you again. And already chat is very happy to see you. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I've obviously taken a big hiatus from true crime, so I'm thankful to be here with you, just like the old days. I mean, this is the case that brought us together, caused us to really go all in on our YouTube channels. So I'm just happy to be back, and I will never get tired of discussing this case. So I'm looking forward to the discussion.
It's crazy. And
it is.
It's just, and we've dug into it so much, to the point where, I mean, yeah, it was good to kind of take a break, cover other cases, but like you said, like I never get tired of discussing this, and already I appreciate everyone in chat, and hi the analyst and everyone who's joined us and all the comments, and everyone has different opinions on this case, and I totally respect everyone's opinion. Him right now looking at his phone, he's texting NK probably, and she's giving him like the play-by-play of what to do. Destination New York says, look how he's acting hours after he knows his babies are dead and in oil tanks. Unbelievable. Now, again, I just want to point this comment out, because I'm not under the impression at this point that the children could be dead. And I only say that because, for one, the district attorney's narrative has been wrong on numerous incidences on this case. Based on evidence, he was proven wrong, and then he's come out and clarified things that he was wrong about. And we don't have a time of death for anyone. We don't have it for Shanann. We don't have it for the girls. And I'm under the impression in this case that things that they've left out are left out on purpose, like the Vivint alerts that they've sealed and won't let us see. That could possibly show that there were other people in the house, but the public has no access to see those control panels. Now, for the time that they all died, I see the shadow of one of them get in the truck. Where they're at this point, obviously there would be other co-conspirators involved. Are they dead at this point? I'm not certain, but even if they are, I'm not even certain that Chris knows that at this point. Like, I feel like he might think that they could still be alive. Shanann, I don't know, because I feel like he very much, she was a part of his plan for sure. So what do you think about the fact that there's no time of death on any of the autopsies?
I think that is very telling, especially for Shanann. It's extremely odd to me that they didn't get a more precise time of death. And I think you kind of know this on a theory. But I 100% agree with you that it is a high possibility the girls were still alive at this point. And I think it's completely fair to leave that on the table when there was absolutely no trial, Like, we don't know what happened. We never will. But yeah, the fact like there is no time of death to go off of. Also, I think it's very interesting that we don't have any mention of camera footage, what they caught at the Anadarko parking lot. Discovery states that there were cameras in the Anadarko parking lot. I would love to know when NK was coming and going that Monday and even that Tuesday. We know she left early, I think Tuesday. She was sick. But yeah, I would love to know more about the other coworkers, and particularly NK, where she was coming and going. But yeah, what they leave out of the discovery is way too convenient, in my opinion. And it's extremely eerie the way this case was handled.
Right. And yeah, let me just play this more and we can pause and talk.
And
The
if
house
me and
huddle,
you
good
will
to
just
see
like
you.
talk the whole time.
Oh, I know. Like there's so much that we can just keep going on with. And then I forget that we have like hours on end of like footage to watch too. But pretty much
Yeah.
Chris is scrambling at this point. And yeah, we don't actually have a time of death. So is some of them alive still at this point? We don't know. Are they all deceased and Chris doesn't know, or maybe he's finding out? We still don't know. But again, I think it's noteworthy. They could have, I mean, even the insects that were found on Shanann's body could have indicated a time of death, yet they leave it blank. So it's just very telling, like you said, the information that they've left out.
Yeah. And I think, again, with the girls, I obviously am not an expert, but and I've said this throughout our discussions, like I can kind of give them not having the time of death for the girls. But for Shanann, there's no reason that they could not have a more precise time of death than what they gave. They gave her time of death as when they found her.
Right.
So I don't see any reason for that.
Agree. And even just to keep going, the PCA, probable cause affidavit of his arrest. I was going to pull it up, but I want to play some of this video more. But I mean, it's only barely 3 pages. And when I say barely, there's a whole bunch redacted when it's talking about the mistress. And it just doesn't even cover, like, it's just very lacking. When we look at Brian Koberger's probable cause affidavit or Richard Allen in the Delphi case, there's pages on pages of that. We found this and a witness said that, blah, 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 blah. We have literally none of that in Chris Watts's affidavit. In fact, they describe his confession that Shanann is the cause of the girl's demise, which we know is not true, but they've included that false confession like as part of his probable cause affidavit. So that doesn't match the evidence at the scene or at the autopsy, and yet that's what they were kind of using as means to hold him. And he very much is a part of all this, like there's a reason why he's scrambling here. But I just feel like there's so much more to this story.
Right. I am with you.
Does she usually watch the kids, or you have daycare watch them? Or?
She usually watches the kids if they're not at school.
Okay.
At the pool?
Yeah.
The little rec center thing right here?
There's a pool right down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been here for like off and on for 3 hours here. Did nothing.
Alright, I can run down there and do it.
Let her read it.
You guys having any kind of issues, marital issues, or?
We're going through separation.
You are? Did you guys file it yet or anything, or just talking about
No, we're gonna sell the house and do the separation.
it? How's that going?
It's going
Civil for the most
civil,
part, or?
yeah.
Is your wife go to that swim pool often, or the?
It just depends. I mean, on a hot day like this, I would say no.
Madison. I know, you love the playroom. You play it all the time when you go home.
Says at 5:27 a.m. the overhead garage door 2 was left open and never shut.
So this is significant. And this is something that he repeats over and over. And we've seen him like say it to numerous law enforcement officers and to Tammy, that the way, and this was all figured out, you know, with the research, that they had their Vivint set up was, you know, you would get alerts on your smartphone that a door was left open, and that would come in like 10 minutes after you had left or whatever, you know, or you left it open. So when he left in the morning, he says this more than once, he got the alert that it was his garage door was left open. And then he says, but when I got home, it was shut. So again, indirectly, like kind of throwing somebody under the bus in a way, or hinting that like, yeah, there's something fishy is going on. Like, but at the same time, he's told Sandy, and he said in front of the officer that, and to Shanann in text or whatever, that their Vivint system was like giving false reports. So what do you think about the alert telling him that his garage door was left open, and then he gets home and even when Nicole Atkinson shows up, it's shut?
Yes, I think there is definitely something to that, and not trying to skip ahead too much, but once he's speaking with Tammy, and you did a video laying this out, and I noticed this as I was watching the interviews, there are so many times that he brings up those alerts and how it was left open, and it's almost like he's trying to get them to ask him more about that and probe more into it, and they never do. But I absolutely believe that there is something to that. And I absolutely believe that the others involved played a role within that. And again, you've also brought out that the Vivint records were supposed to be unsealed, right, after a certain period of time. And of course, they never were. So,
So
that, again, would be fascinating.
Exactly. And that again would probably clear him or not, you know, and that once it got his confession, which was a false one, talking about Shanann doing it, you know, that was enough. So then everything else that ends up like taking place that shows different evidence, it's kind of like they just brushed it under the table. They sealed the records for Vivint to protect the information from reaching a public domain in case they went to trial, but it never went to trial, and they never unsealed it. And that's something that just you couldn't lie about. You know, again, he's trying to say that was tripping up sometimes and maybe giving false reports, but I don't know. I think he was just saying that to Shanann, you know, to explain why she was suspicious, why there was like movement going on in her house, you know, when she was gone.
Right.
And unfortunately, his lies about that kind of got intertwined with this mess. Cray Cray says, is Shanann's friend there? She's there now, but when this alert was going off at 5:17 in the morning, she wasn't there to like close his garage door. So somebody else closed the garage door.
Yes. And then also, I forgot how you worded it, but what I find so frustrating with this case, a closed case that we're just supposed to accept that Chris did it all because he said so much of the evidence that is I don't know, can't think of the word right now, but like the Vivint records or like the dogs in the house and his phone records, things like that, that cannot be disputed or cannot be twisted. They conveniently left out. All we really truly have is Chris's word. And he has proven time and time again, he's a liar. His words don't fully match the little bit of evidence that we do have. We're lacking so much forensic evidence. We're lacking, again, phone records, Vivint records, like all that non-refutable evidence is lacking. And we have Chris Watts's lying word to go on. It's just so frustrating.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is if this went to trial, you know darn right his defense team would have gone up there with their own dog experts and been like, or, you know, cross-examined the dog handlers and said, so you're telling me that your dog who has this rate of, you know, because they have, each dog has like a score or whatever that they pass their test in or whatever, didn't alert to death in the truck, the garage, and the house. And then all that would be questioned in front of the jury. So the jury would be hearing that more than one cadaver dog didn't alert to death in the house. Well, the whole state's theory was he carried them out like trash and they all died in the house. And, you know, that's problematic when the evidence isn't showing that. And then, you know, it's just like you said, certain things just would be cross-examined, like the Vivint records would be shown and said, well, isn't it possible that this alert here at this time is saying that somebody opened and shut the basement door and somebody shut the garage door and all that? They would have to stand, like someone from Vivint would say, yes, that's what this is signifying, you know, and a jury would hear all that. I mean, the district attorney's case was trash pretty much.
I completely agree. And one more thing real quick. You reminded me how Rourke said at sentencing, he carried them all like garbage. Even Frankie at first said something about the 3 different trips. And then all of a sudden, Chris is like, oh, well, didn't you guys see the shadows? Like, or shadow, you know, and it's suddenly the whole narrative has changed. I also still am so frustrated by the fact, like, they never even really used the truck or discussed the truck with Chris initially. And even he said, like, Tammy was like, well, what could we have done different? And he's like, well, maybe if you talked about the truck or said you saw the shadow, or, you know, it's just like fascinating to me. They didn't even use the truck or him loading anything against him. Because in my opinion, they didn't see anything.
Yeah, the Nate's footage is not showing what the district attorney wanted to push.
Yes, and a jury of 12, in my opinion, would not have agreed as to what they saw on that footage.
Right. Frankie, and again, we're not dragging the families. I feel this district attorney is so manipulative and so corrupt that he preyed on the Russek's vulnerability at the time and said, you know, we can shut this down if he just signs the plea deal and all this will go away. And unfortunately, they all died in the house and he carried them out like trash. Frankie says something about him stacking them one by one or something like that in the truck. It's like, no, we don't see the shocks or the truck move at all.
Yes.
Those girls weighed like 34 pounds. Shanann was 140 something, pregnant. I mean, there's nothing that's indicating that they were carried out by Chris that morning. And thank you, Pizza Chemist. Really appreciate the gifted memberships and welcome all the members. And yeah, it's good to see you again.
About that time. So either like when I pulled away and shut the door, it never shut. It was shut when you got here.
So he's laying it right out. The garage door when I pulled away wasn't shut, but it was shut when you got here. And Nicole Atkinson is saying yes. And again, Coonrod is just the officer who's responding, you know, so all this would have gotten handed over to CBI and FBI, and they could have done what they wanted to do with it, but yet they went a totally different route.
So the sensor was tripping out, which has happened before. I've had to replace it 2 weeks ago before I left.
That's a red flag right there.
That the
Like-
sensor was replaced 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Well, it was
Right.
tripping out. Like I would once again, historically, are there any other issues with their Vivint prior to June, July once Shanann is gone? Probably not.
Right. And look at him biting his lips. He's notorious for biting his lips. Like he's holding back. That's a clear
Yeah.
sign of, you know, someone knowing more, but they're just keeping it back.
Mhm.
Look at him with his hands on his hip. Like that's why at this point I'm not certain that he knows like how screwed he is at this moment, or you know, maybe what's going on with the kids is more of a priority, because like it seems like he's kind of tapped out. Like I don't know if you feel the same way, but he's like very honed into his phone, and like yes, he's acting and he's like doing what he needs to do, like, oh maybe no, I don't think they'd be at the pool and stuff, but like it just seems like he's preoccupied right now by his phone, and it's not because he's trying to reach out to people or make it seem like he's looking for her. Like I think that something has his attention, and I think that it could be something going on like at the oil field.
It says the basement door was left open at 5:26. Visitor detected at 1:48. That's when she got home. Then the visitor detected at 12:10. That was when she came.
Were you able to pull up the video at the 12:10? See, was it front door?
At 12:10, that was Nikki.
That was you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ed was beeping at me out in the field.
So here's the whole, oh, I'm gonna walk back out with the wedding ring on my hand and make it seem like I just found that she left her wedding ring there. When really, you know, he's instructed to do this, in my opinion, like through whatever message or whoever he's talking to, like suddenly he's like gonna walk in that room after he's had his back towards their bedroom and kind of in between the cop and the bedroom this whole time. Like, you know, he said that she was laying in bed and points at the room when he got home, or when she got home, and all of a sudden he's walking towards the bedroom. Like I feel like he's been instructed to kind of go in there. Okay, now play it off like you just found the wedding ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ed was beeping at me out in the field. It's on the nightstand next to the other. Is it also today? Takes off the hair.
Does she do her work from a laptop, or is it just
phone?
Just from the phone.
What about your bank account?
I tried it. Her logins are different than mine.
It's not a joint account.
It's a joint account, but like she controls all of it. Like she doesn't let me do the finances because I was pretty horrible back in the day, so she just kind of handles all that and she does it. And I have the apps on my phone, but I don't have her login to get into it.
Okay.
Fortunately, that's.
Can you log into your account though?
I can. No, I don't have a laptop, but she has the one downstairs still. But her login, I don't know her login. Like I know the password, but I don't know her login for It's always the same password, 4281915 capital SW. But it's just a matter of getting the login.
Usually first it would show activity if she.
Right, if she's getting gas or...
Yeah, somewhere.
What days does she typically do work?
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah, always.
What was the name of the company again?
Level. Level.
Where are they based out of?
Texas. But they don't have like a... Yeah, they don't have like an office. It's just all over the lot.
Does she have someone that she reports to though?
She has her leaders, but they're both in northeast part of the country. Like that, she has Addie Maloney. She has Amanda Aikman. She has Sam Paisley.
Okay. What, do you have her phone number? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is 240-393-6360.
What'd you say her last name was?
Maloney, M-O-L-O-N.
There was no note or anything by the wedding ring?
No. I'll put it back where it was earlier on.
Was any of her clothes, anything like that missing?
Now, at this moment, with the bed looking the way it is, stripped with all the sheets in the pile, like, is it wrong to say, shouldn't Coonrod have asked Nicole Atkinson, like, would you mind stepping out of like this area or something? You know what I mean? Like, I know that people were saying that we were being too critical in our last live stream of Coonrod, but I feel like the frustration kind of begins in this case when you realize the things that could have been done that might have changed things. And I feel like little things that Coonrod, of course, he did the best he, thought he was doing at that time. And he obviously didn't know how big of a situation it was. But something like the red flag of the way the bedroom looks and the fact that her wedding ring is there now, like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe it couldn't have hurt to kind of ask Nicole Atkinson to, like, would you mind stepping out? I don't know.
Right. And I've always said, kind of to have read Chris as, if you want to go ahead and call him a suspect or whatever it is, like, I wish they would have read him a little more and like realized how easy he was. They could have already probably had him in and questioning him Monday night rather than letting him spend the night all night at the home. And again, it's not just Shanann who is missing. It's Shanann. She's pregnant. 2 little girls are also missing. So I'm with you, like, not trying to criticize them, but at the same time, I feel like this can kind of be a learning lesson. Like, read the suspect. He literally said yes to every single thing, no resistance. I think they could have easily just said, hey, will you come on down and let's get a statement from you? It's just they didn't even call him into the police station until Tuesday. And to me, that's always stuck out to me. Also, something I noticed that I've never noticed before, when he asked where Lavelle was based out of, Chris knew that it was Texas. I just think that that's interesting, that he quickly knew, like, the state that this company or whatever you want to call it was based out of. Never noticed that before.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Some middle school not voting for his name, Yeah.
It didn't look like she went through and packed up
No, I mean,
bag or
this,
anything.
this, and all that on the bottom, so it'd be kind of hard to tell if she took a little bit, or, I mean, it'd be easy to tell if she took a lot, but it's hard to tell if she took a little bit or not.
Okay. She tell you anything about leaving, moving out?
Not moving out. I mean, the last time I talked to her was this morning. She said she was going to take the kids to a friend's house, and that's where she was going to be. And then I've texted her today. I've never heard anything. But the car's here. Car
Right.
seats are here. Unless somebody came and picked her up. But the people that I know.
Isn't that funny too? Unless somebody came and picked her up.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's kind of making it seem like, one of her friends, but it's just very telling. Like, if we're going to go with the theory that, like, yeah, she was picked up, but, not by her friends.
Nobody's heard from her. Nobody's seen her.
Right. Who do you guys bank with?
Chase and USA.
Definitely an odd one.
I don't know what I should do right now. Should I drive around like the normal route that she would be?
Where does she normally go to?
I mean, just like drive where like she would normally take the kids to school. People that I know that live down, Kristen lives down that way. I mean, that's the only routes I know she would really take.
She go to their house frequently, or?
And not much, but.
Now here, when he's like wanting to leave and drive around, I think that that's interesting, because would he drive around looking, or would he drive around in hopes to like grab the kids who could possibly, again, we don't have a time of death, people. So are the kids still alive at this moment? And he's going to, in hopes to like intercept them from whoever has them. Yeah, Melmac says he spits out bits of truth, in my opinion. So at this point, hi, Alex, good to see you. At this point, it's like, is he saying that he wants to drive around to look for her as like a cover, but really he would drive around in hopes to, maybe someone's itching to talk to him in person, like not over the phone, like NK or somebody,
Yeah, it would have been interesting if he had gone, like if he had been like, sure, go ahead, and then to have like pinged his phone, or if he took his work truck, like where it would have shown he went.
Yeah. And we brought it up in the other live stream about how he does ask, like, this isn't the first time that he kind of asks to drive around, but it took a long time. It was like, you would think that if he was completely innocent and just playing the innocent card, even, that he would have offered to drive around and look for them like way before, because they've been missing at this moment for like a while. Like, it took him almost 45 minutes or an hour to get home, even after he was tipped off by Nicole Atkinson and Sandy and all that like they couldn't find her. And yet he doesn't suggest, like, should I go drive around? Like, it's like he's trapped in this house and something's going on that's like pulling him to get back to the oil field or somewhere else. And I feel like it could be, in my opinion, that the kids were still alive, or there was some hope for somebody to come back with him.
Right, because even doesn't someone mention the pool, and he, never is like, oh yeah, maybe they're at the pool, should we go check? But then all of a sudden more and more time passes, and now he wants to go drive around. So
yeah,
I'm with you. Like, what was going on that phone? And was it within the secret calculator app? We'll never know.
Unfortunately, and that's why we're doing this. And
Yeah.
people get so mad at this case, like in the comment section, and like
people get upset that we're still discussing it. But it's like, there's literally documentaries made like decades later on cases. Cases are discussed forever and ever. Amen. Like, this case has captivated us, so we're going to discuss it.
And that's the problem with plea deals too. When evidence isn't processed, when witnesses aren't put on the stand under oath, like the statement even from Betty, the neighbor, about what she
Yes.
saw in the truck and how we've tied it back to the mistress and all that. I mean, all of that could have been laid out for a jury, and yet none of it gets to a jury, and he's convicted, and then that's it.
Right. And then one of the biggest kickers for me when people, say, well, he confessed, he did it all. Number one, it's like they're picking and choosing what they believe from Chris. And then number two is the DA Rourke, what he said at sentencing, he loaded them all. And then all of a sudden, wait, no, he said that the girls left alive. And it's like, that is such a lack and failure for you to come up with one narrative and then suddenly change it just because this guy told you so, when I don't know, that just drives me crazy.
And since I have somebody who's followed this case for so long on this episode, I need to have you back me up in this. When we started this case, I don't know, end of 2018, beginning of 2019, the Rusek family were friends and very civil with Armchair Detective. And Frankie has deleted the comments now, and the videos, I think even his channel is gone too, the original one. But they were under the impression that NK was going to be investigated and that she was involved. And then all of a sudden it was, we hate Armchair Detective, screw him, and NK's not involved, and Chris did this on his own. So I just wanted to have somebody to kind of back it up. That really did happen. That's how this played out. They were friends, Armchair and the Ruseks, and they all thought NK was involved, and then suddenly it changed. So I think that that's all noteworthy too, because our suspicions of things being kind of covered up and just kept under wraps, it's not just us feeling that way. There's been other things that have taken place where we've been like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. No, you're right. Because I remember, we've discussed this for years. And when that was going on, we're like, oh my gosh, maybe something will happen. The family is on board with there being more to this. And then all of a sudden it was just it flipped. Shut it all down. Chris was alone. Let it go.
And will we ever know why they changed their mind? No. And there's speculation that it has something to do with this and that. All that doesn't really matter. What matters is they thought at one moment that she was involved, and that they were going to get her, and that, Armchair Detective was doing the right thing. And then all of a sudden it changed. So that to me is more noteworthy than why did it change? Obviously I want to know what made you guys change your mind, but the fact that it was something at one point, and now it's not that way. It's strange.
Right. Agreed.
Hey. I'm still talking to the officer right now. Okay, bye. I will, definitely. Bye-bye. Sorry about that. That was a mom.
Was that Cindy? He said that was my mom.
Yeah, I guess so.
And now the bed here, is obviously problematic.
Yeah.
She just went away on a friend's kid date or whatever, play date. Why is the bed stripped and all that? It looks so wrong. I think that maybe she was attacked in the bed. I know that Florida Bass Fishing thinks that it was in the basement. I don't know. I just can't get past if something did happen in the basement, why is the bed looking that way? You know what I mean?
Right. And wasn't it in okay, again, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to jump too far ahead, and I think Sue said it in the comments as well, but didn't he say that in the bedroom is where they had the emotional conversation, and Shanann said F you, and F you? So yeah, I do believe something did happen in there, but again, I am just so torn on what exactly I think happened once she walked in that room. I do think that there were players or a player in the basement, the movement in the basement. But I also do think something happened, some kind of altercation or confrontation upstairs as well in the master.
I agree. And I can't pinpoint exactly what, and my theories changed. And thank you, Pointer Lover, for the super chat.
I love Pointer Lover's picture. It's the dog
Aw.
pointing. That's so cute.
That is so cute. He's like pointing like NK's
Yes.
involved.
Yeah, exactly. Even the
Stop
dog
looking
knows.
here, look over here.
Yeah.
But it's just the amount of comments that I'm sure you get or have gotten and I get about there's something to the mistress. Why isn't she in prison? Like I think that she was given immunity.
Really?
It's like
Yeah.
this new theory. I'm just kind of because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And like after watching this show, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's on Netflix. It used to be on ABC, How to Get Away with Murder.
Okay, I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
You need to watch it.
I will.
But it's just it really opened my mind to like the legal process and how like there are times when somebody is directly involved in a heinous crime, but because they're the first ones to kind of get to the police and the district attorney and kind of strike a deal and give the information, they're scot-free because they've given the information that they were looking for or something, you know, of value.
Right.
But this ending in a plea deal, it makes me think that like maybe what she was giving them wasn't really that great, or it needed to just go away with a plea deal. I don't know.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, you think it's smart just drive around, see if
Probably not, because I mean, you don't know what car she's
smile.
in, where she's at.
It's so creepy.
It is.
And he's like trying to get his way in a sense, like
Yeah. Yes.
oh my gosh. And it's like he
He's
just
my
got off the
charm.
phone with his mom. So this is like the second time that he's suggested that he drive around, right? And it's like his mom just called, like he knows he's like in deep SHIT at this moment. And he's like doing that like grin, like, what do you think? And then Coonrod is like, I don't think it's a good idea or whatever. And then you just see his face like, I mean, look, he's like sinking.
Goes right back to sunken, yeah.
And it's like, why did he really need to get out of there, you know?
Probably not, because I mean, you don't know what car she's in, where she's at. I mean, obviously you're not going to see her car. It's here.
He knows that his like little scheme to like get out of this is not working because Coonrod's like, well, where she's not in a car, so where are you going to look? And I feel like it's this. Go ahead.
He's like, then he's just right back to the phone.
Yes, like thinking they're not saying like they're not going to let me go. Like, what is going on the other end of that phone? It's driving me crazy.
Yep.
Well, I know Amanda's out of town because her brother died.
Yeah.
She's not flying back till a day. And the other one she's really close with that I know is Sarah.
What else do you think I could do?
Yeah.
Just wait for her here?
Up here.
See, he's still pushing the like, so just wait for her here.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to leave.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. There's a reason, like, suddenly at this moment, he's asked twice within a few minutes to try to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got my detective coming, just because this is kind of an odd situation. See if we can try to get her pinpointed down, find a friend or something.
Okay.
He may have you call the bank.
Okay. Hey, sir, it's Chris Watts. Not too bad. Have you heard from Shannon today? No, I have not. I was just, you're my last person to call. So I'm just, all right. I don't want to make you nervous or anything, but I'll keep you posted. No. Okay, thank you. Bye.
And she lives around here?
She lives in Aurora.
Or
How much, sponsor? Yes. Cheese. Smelly. Did you go potty? Need a new diaper? Yeah? Alright, good.
How long you been in the oil field?
Since 2015, Anarco 2015 January, Covenant year before that. After that, I worked on cars for 11 years.
You liking it?
I love the fact that I don't have to get carpal tunnel in my wrist. That's what I left it for. Left car business for.
Right.
Because it was destroying my body. The oil field is less repetitive as far as the same stuff over and over, just doing that all the time.
Right.
A lot of lifting, but other than that, it's perfect for what I do. It gives me time with the kids. Like I used to be on 8 days on, 6 days off. But now I'm on 5 and 2, so let's go back to 8 and 6 next month. So I'll be getting a lot more time with the kids. That's what I'm excited about.
Right.
Give her a break.
Do you have any medical conditions other than
Lupus.
lupus?
Fibromyalgia. Rosacea. She thought she had RA, but she took a lot of medication in North Carolina. She stopped a bunch of it when she moved here. But she has some flare-ups here and there.
When did she move here?
When she moved here in 2012.
Okay. No, like recent, is she taking any kind of medication?
Imitrex for migraines and some Monteg 2 class for like allergies and stuff like that.
Okay.
And some stuff for nausea.
No, nothing's changed as far as medication-wise?
No, not that I know of. Nothing she said.
Any kind of behavioral changes, anything like that recently?
Going through a separation. That's the only behavior changes. That seems just more emotional. When we talk, you know.
The neighbor said he went back.
Okay. Tell him I'll be there in just a minute.
Okay, so they've muted their. Okay, it's back on. So this is neighbor Nate, aka Nosy Nate. He's been nicknamed. Again, I feel like he is someone who adds value to the case, but at the same time has been wishy-washy. The value that I think he adds is the fact that he pretty much says all we see is him loading his truck and Nicole Atkinson drops her off and that's it. Because I feel like Nate confirms what we are saying, that she was taken out back or another method. The thing that's annoying about Nate for me is he had made a statement that he heard a lot of arguing going on and then he took it back. And we kind of were wondering, okay, was he talking about Shanann and Chris, or did he hear NK and Chris arguing over the summer?
Right. That's frustrating because, again, yes, he retracted it, but did he retract it as to not like put Shanann in a bad light or make it, or did it, like you said, was it NK? It's so frustrating that he did that. Also, when you get into the discovery, and I made a video about this, basically he was supposed to turn over camera footage and like by October or something, he still hadn't done it. And he was going to come in for an interview. And then we never heard if he ever had that interview or whatever happened with it. And then also, I think it is very telling. There's an interview with Shanann's father, and he talks about speaking to Nate and how Nate turned over the camera footage. And Shanann's dad said, yeah, he said that he told him everything that was going on over there. And the way Frank says it, like, just like gave me chill bumps because I'm like, was there more on his footage? There had to be, I would think. But the way he said, yeah, he told them everything that was going on over there. I'm like, what is everything that was going on over there that Nate knew about? Oh,
Yep. And
Yeah, Tracy's comment.
I think he found out it was not Shanann he heard. Right. Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah.
So then he retracted it. But really, it's
Mhm.
like he did hear arguing, but it wasn't Shanann. It was NK acting a fool. This was something that was kind of
Yeah.
commented on my first stream a lot because I mentioned it because it was said in a text message with Shanann and a friend about the baby and her being pregnant, and Chris was acting strange, and her friend said, especially with a separation going on or something like that. And Sandy told a coworker in North Carolina at the hair salon that they were headed towards separation. So I know
Yes.
people kind of don't want to think this, but we have evidence through, people who the family and Shanann had talked to that signify that, yes, there was talk of a separation. They were going to sell the house. That was something that Chris and Shanann both have kind of a paper trail of in their phone and all that. Um, so I don't know. It seems like that's something that kind of has been kind of all over the place, and people don't believe that that lawyer interview is really the lawyer talking about Shanann. I think it is personally, and that was in April-ish, around that time, March or April of 2018, before she went to North Carolina. I believe that they had problems and that they were playing around with the idea of separation. That's just my opinion. And I think that she changed her mind once she had seen how detached Chris was and all that. But in my opinion, I think that yes, there is evidence to signify that they were talking, both of them, mutually about a separation.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with the lawyer. I believe the lawyer. I don't think that he would risk his reputation or anything to lie about that. And I do think Shanann had a memorable personality. Um, so I'm with you. And like you said, I think kind of like if you're having problems with your husband, it's one thing to kind of throw out the word separation, and then you leave and you're kind of hoping that they'll miss you, and then it doesn't happen, and then I feel like the reality really set in. She even started to think, okay, maybe he is seeing somebody else towards like the very end, and she's like, no, I don't actually want it, once it actually like is right in front of your face. It's really sad to just imagine
Mm-hmm.
the entire thing.
Yeah, and she was desperate to fix things because then she wrote that letter to him before she went to
Mhm.
Arizona. And so it seems like there was like you said, like once it's kind of in your face, and she even said to one of her friends that, oh, Chris has no game. So I feel
Yeah.
like it would have been fine for her to separate on her terms, and but the fact that she realized that he might have already been moving on and all that, like things were kind of backtracking, I think. Again, that's just,
Right.
and we can find these texts and all that, like as we go through this whole series. And anybody who wants even more of this stuff, it's on CDT's channel. There's a whole
Yeah.
playlist, hours on hours of us going through this case there. And this is just rehashing it, re-reviewing it, and going through it like years later. Again, I want to keep doing these series. I love having you on. So if I have to do the episodes based around your schedule, like, would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm usually free Fridays. I have no life, so I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Same.
Yes. Yeah, we work well together.
Nothing on there.
What's that?
Nothing on there.
Nate says it more than once. Nothing on there. Nothing on there. He said it even when they were in their house. All I see is her getting dropped off and then him loading his truck.
You just have to
My
back
camera.
the truck up to the drive.
Lay down. Loading my stuff up in my coolers, my water jugs, my book bag, my computers, some of the tools that I had from the toolbox. I knew I was going to have to do some pumping into rubbers today. That's why I was out so far.
Is this on continually
Yep.
recording?
Yep. Well,
It's not, is it
any
motion or is it,
event,
okay, so it's motion.
Any motion event that happens, I get cars driving from this street,
And also, CDT did a really good video kind of honing in on, because when he's flipping through the screen, like showing you, different times that the camera picked up something, like it could be something, especially if we're talking about other players involved. So there's a whole video just on what we see in Nate's camera footage, like other vehicles.
And this is him at 517.
Usually park out there on the side. I just want to get everything back in. Be easier, so lugging everything out there, all the tools that I had to bring in.
So he's definitely in a little panic mode at this moment. Now, why he's panicking, I don't know, but I don't think it's because he's loading them up like trash.
What else can I do with this?
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you. He'd probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out there,
His camera's
I would have got it.
Like
Right.
we had issues the other week.
The sunglasses falling on his face.
Yeah.
I feel like I can like that would be me just like at the store checking out, like just like
Yeah.
awkward all the time, and like here he's like definitely in panic mode, and they just like fall down on his face, like he's panicking. Something significant could be seen on Nate's footage, and he doesn't know what's going to be seen. But yet we really don't see much. But a lot of people are saying I see more than just Chris there.
Like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out there,
His camera's
I would have got it.
Like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that. And I had parked my truck
I had
here.
to park right here.
Yeah. So someone,
See if
I could
anything
see where someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like.
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I would
Yeah,
have
if it would
got it.
have been like right in that area, it should have picked.
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
You know where that tree there too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here. We've already watched that one. But like, you'll see this car.
What security system do you have?
Xfinity. Oh, you can see this car coming right.
Chris is like,
That one.
I need that. I've had so much problem with Vivint.
Right?
Need to switch.
Yeah, like needs to know what camera system he has at that moment.
Right. Another thing that I would once again love to know is, was Chris's truck or whatever really broken into? Because Shanann's dad, Frank, said that it was. So it's like, was this really so premeditated that Chris claimed his truck was broken into to not only, Shanann's dad, but then he's also going to say it again here? Or was it truly broken into? And that is truly why he talked to Nate. Like, that's, again, people debate that one as well.
Right. And yet I don't see anything that points to, yes, a neighbor said that was true and that was a problem that was having or being taking place. What if it's like the whole Vivint security was tripping up and setting off sensors? It's just another lie that Chris had come up with to cover about like NK being there or whatever. I don't know like what would have made him lie about somebody breaking into his truck, but say it had something to do with like NK or somebody being there. So then he had to come up with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
that's the thing about Chris is like, you don't know, that he's lying nonstop, but there is
Right.
truths mixed in, and you don't know like which lies took place when, because he kind of like shifts like, well, we had this conversation at this point, and when really it was like days prior, probably. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
He's next door.
Can we go?
I was talking about dispatcher. It'll be code 4.
Yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and make it.
Interesting how as soon as Coonrod goes to talk on his dispatch, Chris thinks that like he's saying that a Detective Baumhover is there. So he's like, you want me to go? And it's like,
Yeah.
he can't get away from Nate quick enough.
Right.
And whatever
yes.
is being shown here, he can't get away from it quick enough.
Yeah.
So what is it being shown? And thank you, Kelly B, Place to Be, for becoming a member, and welcome. There's something on there, like even though it's not him loading them up like trash, there's something on there that's just detrimental to Chris right now.
Turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the car pulling a U-turn. So, unless they pulled right here,
Yeah.
but I would have caught her walking out. Diesel.
You're good.
But yeah, I thought nothing.
Nothing for the rest of the day.
No, that's it.
And isn't it funny how, okay, not only does this American Horror Story commercial pop up, and everyone's been like crazy about this ever since this happened, but his dog, Diesel, Nate's dog, has kind of been on edge the whole time we've been there. We don't see him on camera, but Nate's been telling it to lay down and stuff. Right when Chris is kind of spazzing out, he must have kind of been going over to Chris because he goes, Diesel, and he like snaps his fingers, and Chris says he's fine, and he like bends down and pets him. Like, that dog sensed something about Chris, and he's not growling at him, and he's not like being aggressive towards him, but something in that dog was telling him like, something's up with this guy here. Like whether it's his sweat or adrenaline or whatever, the dog, I think, senses like this guy right here standing here in the gray is like not right.
She's pregnant as well.
How far along?
14, 15 weeks. That's why her friend said it was low blood sugar.
And see, I've got her friend leaving out here at 2 in the morning, I think. My camera. Did you go check if anything was missing around your house?
There wasn't nothing. It was like all the old blankies. That's about it. And then her wedding ring was on the nightstand. Her phone was still there.
And Chris doesn't want to like view the screen as Nate's going through it. And these, I'm assuming, are other alerts that Nate had gotten, like either before or after, that could be significant. But I don't know. It seems like Chris would rather walk away.
And this is around the time that the text comes through where he sends that's absolutely ridiculous. They would freak out. And then Kay said that was about unicorn cereal.
Yeah, right.
That's right when this was going down, right? Okay.
That is absolutely ridiculous. They would freak out and like a whole bunch of exclamation points. And then she is asked about it, and she says, well, I was at the store at the time, at the grocery store, and I'd seen these unicorn, I don't know, what is it, Lucky Charms or something?
Lucky Charms. Yeah.
Yeah. And says that was about seeing this like cereal for the girls or whatever. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's laughable, but not at the same time.
Right.
She dropped her off at 1 in the morning, right?
My doorbell said 1:48. She came in.
Okay. It's not on this one. It'll be on this one. So this is her bed leaving at 1:48.
Because as soon as it picks up motion, it'll like back off. Okay. I thought you.
And that was the start of the video.
Yep. About 1:48
in the morning.
I didn't pick her up going into the house though.
It didn't. And I usually pick him up when he comes walking through here.
Mm-hmm.
I pick him up. So it doesn't show her walking into the house.
Now, that's something I think Nate was confused on, because we find out that Nate's footage gets tripped by motion and then starts recording. And they're all talking about how they didn't see her walk up to the door, Shanann, but we know that she did because it's on the Vivint body cam or surveillance. And he says, but I pick up him walking out of the garage here. And some of those images, people swear, including Stasia, who's in the chat right now, that that's not Chris, it's NK. So I don't know. It's like, was he talking about Chris, or was he seeing Chris, or is it somebody else? And Nate's just kind of assuming that it's Chris. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really know. And if it was Chris, what started the recording? Like, what motion set it off to start recording? You know, somebody else could have walked out or something.
Or she would have walked by right this off. That's funny. Okay. The other dogs. They see all these people coming in and they're like, what is going on? Yeah. And you know it's still live because it's 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. How long does it typically record for?
30 seconds, I believe, at a time. But this is at 1:48, and then the next one I have is him at 5 whatever. So nothing, no cars came through, because I guarantee, with the headlights, it picks up the headlights automatically.
And my Vivint said that at 5:27, my garage door was left open.
Okay, once again, his garage door was left open. So he's repeated that numerous times, and he's repeated, you know, something about them being picked up out back a couple times and him wanting to leave and go look around for her. So these are kind of things that stand out in my mind of something that he keeps trying to like reiterate. And I feel like there's significant phrases and stuff, pinpoints that he's trying to say. We're only going to go for a couple more minutes, guys, because I don't want to go too long for these. I want us to be kind of fresh and able to kind of like go through all this stuff with fresh minds and not get too tired. So just a couple more minutes and then we'll call it a night, everyone.
But that could have been the center as well. It says it was shut during the day, but I think when Nikki's son, he may try to move the door around, maybe when they were trying to get in the garage door, and it probably broke the laser there. That's because my alarm started going off.
Well, I know he said the front door he tried going in, but he had the lock up.
That's for
so
the
that
kids,
set
so
it
they don't
off,
get out.
right?
And our remote on the outside doesn't work anymore. It got wet and it's the whole radio on the back.
So yeah, that was it.
Okay. All right. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
Hopefully something comes up here.
No, he's like, yep, walks away. Couldn't get out of there quick enough. Who
Yeah,
Stick said, why would he drive away with the garage door open? Right. Well, that's the thing too, is like his alert tells you when it's been open for 10 minutes. So he drove away with it open, and then 10 minutes later, he gets an alert that says it's still open. So yeah, why did he not shut it? You know, he's a creature of habit from everything that we know about Chris. Like, it's not something that he would do, you know what I mean? In my opinion, he would have shut it. Like, that's just how he is, in my opinion. Again, it's just coming off of what we know about him through all these years of kind of studying this case, and even Shanann's Facebook posts, you kind of get a glimpse of who he is. Crackdown says, can you blow up the TV screen by chance? On our last live stream, we show you Nate's TV in that view. So we've kind of played that already on the last stream, and you can check that out and kind of see Nate's TV at a closer view without Chris there. And thank you, Pizza Chemist, for the 5 memberships. I really appreciate that. So anything you kind of want to add before we close out? Because I feel like this is a good time to stop. This is when Baumhofer, the detective for the local PD, Frederick, I believe, shows up, and he's, on scene, and then we can pick apart things that they missed also.
Right. Yeah, I think this is a good stopping point. I'm trying to think. I have so many thoughts, but I don't want to get too far ahead. So I guess that's pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, he is a creature of habit from all accounts about Chris. Like, he's pretty meticulous in what he does. So him just driving it away with it open. And then once again, so frustrating that the factual data, such as the Vivint alerts, the cell phone records, the GPS, his phone pings throughout the summer, and stuff like that. Like, we don't have any of that. And that just drives me crazy.
We don't even have his phone.
Yeah, nothing from it. Like,
the
very few messages. Yeah.
Yep. And they're not like, it's just they picked and chose like which ones that they wanted to put in. Because this, again, all the information from the discovery is from the district attorney, who's lied numerous times to the public, to the families, like it's just, it runs deep. And that's why I love going through this with you and everyone in chat. Let me just go through the comments, a little bit of comments, and then we'll close out.
Yeah. And then quickly, if you want more of discussions about the case between Amber and myself, check out my channel, because that's where we did a lot of our early live discussions, and we went really, really deep into discovery theory. Like, we have done years of research on this case, and a lot of it is over on my channel. So again, this is, not like a plug or anything, but I'm just saying, if you do want more, I'm not even monetized anymore on YouTube. So, but yeah, I just know a lot of people are saying they really like the discussion, and maybe some of you haven't even heard of me, but I do have a channel where Amber was with me for numerous videos, numerous live discussions. So there's plenty more over there.
There's probably stuff that we've even forgot about too.
I'm sure. I'm sure there is.
So yeah, definitely check that out. I think I can add your videos to my playlist too, in case it's easier for you guys to kind of go through it that way. But either way, we'll link the channel. I see the mods have already done it, and I will do the @CDT in the title. So then that way people can go right to your page from the title. So I will do all that and add those articles that I said I was going to add, that referenced the dog sniffing for the cadaver scent, the government website explaining what an eco-terrorist is, and the stuff about Anadarko, the oil company, because I think that those are things that people need to kind of research to kind of have a grasp of this case as a whole, because I think that oil leak has a lot to do with what happened. That's just my opinion.
I agree. And the whole thing with the fire stick and the meeting at the Safeway and one of the ladies in the orange, whatever, 5.0, whatever it was, it is all too convenient. It is all too coincidental to not have something to do with it, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Miss Tandy, we have gone through every single one of her interviews where we pause and we talk. We've discussed the discovery of NK. We have a whole video where I took page numbers and we would go to the page number where NK is mentioned. So yeah, there's a lot on NK that we have done. Her phone records, we dove into that.
Yep, her letter that that she wrote to law enforcement to kind of give her narrative of how things went with when she met Chris. All that is out there, and all that is going to be gone over again. So it's just going to be, it's like one of those cases that it's like the JFK assassination or Marilyn Monroe's death for me. Like, I just go over it over and over again because it's like interesting to me, and there's always something new that kind of stands out and is shocking. So we're definitely gonna keep digging. And I don't know, I'm amazed by everyone being here. So just hit like on your way out, and everyone is so happy to see you, CDT.
Well, I am so glad to see you guys as well, and thank you for having me, Amber. And yes, I will definitely be joining you for more of these discussions.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, it was so good to see you guys. And thanks for all the love. Hey, Melissa and Shay.
Hi, ladies. Hi, Melissa. And I saw a lot of people join. Shay, of course, and Jessica. I see Nicole. A lot of people coming out just because of this case and our input. So again, I can't thank you enough, CDT, for coming on, and everyone in chat. And yeah, we'll talk. Oh, here's the other thing. I usually go live Tuesday and Fridays. Next week with Thanksgiving, I'll be out of town. So I'm going to go live Monday and Tuesday. So Tuesday will be the same. I'm just doing Fridays, switch to Monday. So that was what I wanted to kind of tell everybody before I got off here. So bye.
Bye. Amber's always just like, bye. I love it.
See ya.
All right. See you guys.